Greg, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. It's been amazing to see your journey so far. So if you just want to give yourself a little introduction about, a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
Yeah, so basically, hi, Chris. Yeah, thanks for having us on. Yeah, I'm down in Wollongong, which is just south of Sydney, a couple of hours, or an hour and a half south of Sydney, in Australia, as
Yeah,
most people would know.
Fellow Australian.
Fellow Australian, yeah, so I'm in the better part of Wollongong. Yeah, so in Shellharbour. Now I've been, when we've been doing this about 6 or 8 weeks, we've been into the Google thing, and it's been a great little journey since it started. I've played around with a little bit with Facebook and that beforehand, and had a bit of success with that. But yeah, this has proven to be quite an interesting journey now in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So just to give everyone a little update on where you're at. So what's the biggest day you've hit so far in terms of ROI and profit and revenue?
Yeah. So I had a 8,300 day. It would have been 100% profit, but I let a few ads run a little bit longer than they should have. And it still came out, I think it was about 65 or 70% profit on that. So it was a pretty good day. A lot of the days are somewhere between 1,000, 2,000. I'm aiming to be at $1,000 profit at minimum a day. The thing that pulled me back in gear was a thing called the cash gap. So the time between when you run your ads and when you get paid. So I had to cut it back a little bit to.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem when you're making too much money, isn't it?
It is a bit of a problem. Your credit card maxes out, and the payment time in between when you get paid and when you run the ads is a little bit. It's only 2 weeks, but it's it can add up when you bounce the card at 70,000 in no time.
Yeah, especially when you're scaling up. Like I remember the first time when I started running ads, racking up a pretty big credit card bill, but then once you pay it off and then you got all the cash in the bank for the profit, it's definitely nice.
I'm looking forward to that day, yeah.
So that's awesome. It's pretty amazing to see. So 1,000, 2,000, like $3,000 profit a day is pretty impressive considering, especially even with paying the cash gap off, that's still definitely a considerable amount. And then start scaling up.
Well, you look at it, $1,000 a day US. Well, it's 300,000, 360,000 a year. So yeah, a lot of people don't get that sort of money. So
yeah. Exactly. So let's jump into a little bit of like your backstory, right? Because I know me and you've been working together for quite some time, and you've done a couple other business models. So do you want to just give me a background and give everyone like sort of background of your story so far until you've actually found, you started working with us and you started working with me and having your breakthrough?
Yeah, no problems at all. Well, just to give everybody a full background, I'm 58 years young and I'm a mechanic by trade. And I actually got out of the trade years and years ago. We actually had my first business was a lawnmower motorcycle repair business, and had a few issues with some health issues with the children, and put a manager in the business, lost everything, had to start again. And I got into IT over in Canberra, and just really, I suppose, took it from zero to, I was working in the Prime Minister's department for about 4 years and making more money than the PM. And it was quite a good journey, but I kind of had that itchy thing when you own a business or you're in a business, you want to work for yourself. You don't want to end up working for a boss all the time. So I ended up getting out of the PMC, Prime Minister and Cabinet thing. And I did a fair bit of property investing in that as well along the way. But the first business, we lost that. And so for a while, I was playing this, I'm a fraud sort of thing. Didn't really know about business. But when I got into the IT stuff, I had a few successes there. A couple of people asked me to help them out in their businesses, and then I got into business coaching. So for the next 20 years after that, I was doing business coaching for people, and again, making a lot of other people rich. I was doing the property investing, got into shares and a heap of those sort of things, a lot of bright, shiny objects along the way, and a lot of ups and downs. We had quite a few successes, but quite a few things brought us back in line along the way, some lessons I needed to learn. But it's 3 years ago, my wife passed away, and she was the backbone behind the coaching business in a lot of ways. She was helping me with putting everything together, and she was keeping me on focus and driving things. And after she passed away, I was kind of lost the passion to it, and as I said, I was making a lot of other people rich, and I was struggling with myself at that time. I thought, I want to do something different and kind of prove to myself that I could do things. So I started to look at different business models, and it's funny enough, I with Wendy, my wife, years ago, I looked at affiliate marketing with her ages ago, and we turned around and said, that's a dinky diet business, it'll never be anything. And she was quite keen on it. And then after a while, I was went away for a weekend planning thing and going, what am I going to do with myself? And then I got this email from somebody about the affiliate marketing thing, and I jumped on a call, and that's where I heard the guys from Healthy Commissions talk about stuff. And at the same time, I was actually listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, reading his autobiography and listening to him on YouTube. And he talks about, burning the boats and having one single focus and all that sort of stuff. And then when Jerry talks about, the guys were saying in their webinar, you need to have, a strong, single line of...
Yeah, laser action.
Laser
focus, massive action, never give up.
Yeah, that's it. And the never give up, I suppose, is one of the things, because, I'd spent, I made a shitload of money out of property. We had 14 properties and that sort of stuff. And then we hit a hard time, and I got advice from somebody to sell them all. And it was like, no, I should have actually kept on going. I gave up. And I look back over the journey over time and going, every time I've hit a hard spot, instead of trying to get over that hard spot, I've gone around it and tried to find another way to get around it. And so when I was listening to that, I thought, shit, you know what? I'm going to burn the boats on everything. So that's when I decided, at that stage, I decided to shut the coaching business down. I had a couple of friends turn around to me and say, you're nuts, like you got 20 years worth of all this experience, you got all this stuff here. What are you, nuts? I'm going, well, this is the ideal business model. When you look at it, you've got no delivery issues, you've got no customer service that you really need to worry about. It's all handled for you in the background. All you've got to do is, it's basically commission-based sales. And I love that sort of tool. And that's when, like I said, I jumped on that webinar, heard that, and I'm going, and it was funny because I bought the original training, then there's the Healthy Commissions training, and then there was something else I bought. And then I started the training on the Healthy Commissions, going, everything else is gone. And I've just been 100% focused on getting that going. And I had some successes with so that was more around the Facebook stuff. And that's when we started working together. And, we had some successes along the way with that. But with Facebook comes the challenges.
It's been quite a journey, yeah. And, I'm sorry to hear about your wife. And my dad also, when I was going through when I first started affiliate marketing, my dad also had cancer as well. So he's recovered from that. But that definitely helped me sort of put like a fire under me to sort of push and actually find out my why and sort of use that as fuel and motivation to have success. And I also pretty much did the same thing. Obviously I'm a lot younger than you, but I quit university to fully pursue this because I had the absolute belief in it. And, it's interesting that you said that you've gone through all these sort of, challenging aspects, and you sort of gave up to some extent on when it sort of got challenging. But seeing our progress so far, it's definitely been challenging in terms of the Facebook side of things when we're running that sort of stuff. But since bringing you on to the YouTube thing, it's obviously been, it's not a walk in the park, but compared to most business models out there, as you've played around with many business models and stuff.
It helped.
It's pretty simple. The road to, 2-3K day profits is definitely been probably one of the simpler ones that you've seen, right?
Yeah, exactly. When you look at it, I was working years ago, I was working with, hairdressers, and I was working with in the end, I was mainly working in construction based because I'm trade based myself. And for the last, I suppose, 12 years, 13 years, I was more around construction space. And, they've got all this risk with very little profit. I'm making more money in a day than what most of those guys would be making in a week, And it's crazy. It's too much. The amount of risk for the reward is crazy. So that's what I loved about this model. It was like, shit, there's no risk, straight and easy. And like you said, there's been some challenges. We've had some challenges, and I was in part of a group early in the piece, and everybody else is going, well, actually, to explain, back when we first started, one of the things that happened, Facebook accounts got shut down, and we said, we knew that Facebook accounts get shut down. So what did I do? I built 60 Facebook accounts, take that massive action. Everybody else is sitting there scratching their head going, oh, it's hard.
Exactly. And that's definitely one of your superpowers, massive action.
I mean, this model is fantastic because, you sit back and I look at the work we did on Facebook, but the work on Google it's addictive once you start making sales. And the other problem is you actually got to step off and let go and let it do its own thing to a certain extent. And it's kind of, you end up doing other things all day instead of just diving in on the ads. And like with Facebook, we're always in there trying to tickle the ads or do something with the ads. With this, it's just like, just let Google do its thing. It'll do its thing and it'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. And when you first hit your big breakthrough, I remember you messaged me saying you were having a beer with your mate and you the biggest day. So do you want to just run through that? Because I remember, the first sale is always like very exciting, but once you've hit that first like breakthrough moment when you just realize like, wow, this like, you've put in the effort and you're finally like reaping the rewards and you can actually just log into your account and see that you've just made like $4,000, $8,000 in sales.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you just want to run us through that sort of, that sort of moment, because it's very recently.
Yeah, it's only recently. That was my first breakthrough. Actually, I was on this. Actually, I probably did have a breakthrough 2 or 3 days before, and then it was $1,000 day. But when I was actually sitting there with a mate on the Friday afternoon, he rang me up to see how I was going, and we decided to have a beer. And I'd logged in, and it was like, here I was. I'd spent, I think it was $600, and I'd made $2,500 sort of thing. And I'm sitting there. That's when I text you. I'm sitting here having a beer. It's addictive. It's worse than betting on the races. You're sitting there, watch every 5 seconds, you're hitting the refresh button. Is there another sale? Is there another sale? And have I made another $100 or whatever? It was quite a thing. And my mates just sitting there going, I don't believe it.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun. That's the interesting thing as well. Like because it's lucky to be into this business model. Like there's so many other business models out there, but the affiliate marketing one where you're just focusing purely on the aspect of business that makes you money, right? You're not dealing with the back end. You're not dealing with the support. You're not dealing with the fulfillment. You're just focusing on driving the sales, and you're making like 80% commission on every sale you make. So
this gives you total freedom and independence. I'm looking at this when we get out of this COVID lockdown crap. Yeah, I'm planning on traveling the world and doing this stuff. It's not sitting here. I've got, like I said, I'm 58 years young. I'm actually really 21, just had a hard life.
Yeah, we're the same age, everyone.
Yeah, exactly the same age. Only I just look like I've had a harder life. And no, my plan is to go traveling and enjoy myself. I've been tied down with family and businesses, and that's the other thing with other businesses is you're tied up. You can't do anything yet. You leave your business for any longer than a couple of weeks and you come back to something that's less than a car park. Most of the times you've got a pretty bad business. So as far as models go, my whole thing here with this is spend $1, make $1. If I don't spend $1 and make $2, or that's the objective. And I don't have to spend a lot of time with it. The advantage with this is it's very scalable. That's the thing I really like.
Yeah. Like when you first started getting it rolling, you're making like $100 a day. Yeah. So tell us your experience so far with, making like $100 a day all the way to when you send your screenshot through of like that $8,000 day plus.
Yeah. So really there was, when I first started, I started with the testing around that 100, I think it was $100, it might have been $200 an ad over 3 ads. And then picked the winner. I got a great ROI on one of them straight off the bat. Just followed the system that you guys taught us and plugged that system straight in, and tested 3 ads. One ad had over 100% ROI. I started to scale that, and then unfortunately, Google did shut down my account. It was only just for a temporary thing. It was because of a suspicious payments thing, but that was only down for a couple of days. Then it came back. So I spent probably, I think it was the first, 3 weeks, I think we had a little bit of issues where I wasn't making a lot of money on it, but I was breaking even. And then all of a sudden, one ad, the one ad that was really good, I duplicated it across. And it was doing well. And then, like I said, I duplicated it, changed some intros, and then one of those just took off. And then I just kept on doubling the budget. It was just like Chris said, if it's $100, double it to 200. When it makes 100% ROI, double it to 200, then 200 to 400. There's that whole scaling system that you had. Yeah. And that's when I got to the $8,000 day. And that was 3 days, I think it took me. From the snapshot, I think it was 2,000 one day, and I think it was 4,000 the next day. I might have actually gone back one day, and then all of a sudden it just went straight up to 8,000, and I'm sitting there going, This is
That's
cool.
why it's so amazing. Like even to just see all the successes in our group as well, like that's also a massive motivating factor. And then once you sort of understand that, yeah, you might be breaking even a little bit, but all you need to do is just refine, tweak the one element of it, and then just launch it and then scale it once you got a winner.
That's it.
And I've never seen so many people like in our group, including you, scale from like launching their ads to doing like $10,000 days within like a
Yeah.
week. And
Yeah.
so,
I mean, I've got $25,000 paycheck coming in
yeah.
this week. You know, it's like, whoa, that's nice. And I've got another one coming next week. And it's like, shit,
And it's considering it's like a blue ocean as well. Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's any business model out there like this. Like, to be honest, considering, you've done a lot of business models, I've played with a lot of different business models and traffic sources, but this is like something that I don't think anyone's ever seen really before. And considering the numbers everyone's doing, like, I'm sure you're definitely excited knowing that you can hit 8K days, you can then double that to like 20K, 30K days.
That's it. Just close the cash gap down, get these weekly payments in, and then I'll be able to close that cash gap down. And yeah.
What would you consider your why? Because I discussed my why a little bit. So a big thing with everyone is their why, because that's most people when they come into like a business model, they'll maybe have something that's not too deep or whatever, but the people that normally actually drive to success have like a pretty strong why.
In a lot of ways, when Wendy passed away, that was part of my why had kind of gone, and that was part of the thing, part of the sitting down and trying to realize what I'm going to do and where I was going to go and why am I doing a lot of things. And so that all changed, but I've still got 4 kids, like 4 adult kids. You've met 2 of the boys and that sort of stuff. Yeah. And I mean, that's part of the why. Another reason is basically, I've been coaching people for years. I've got an internal why where a couple of people have turned around and said, this is not a real business, and it's, how can you do things and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I've got plenty of property. I've got plenty of, well, not plenty of stuff. I'm set up for retirement, but I'm really, I suppose the thing that's really driving me is I want to prove to myself that I can do it. I want to prove that to myself initially. But on the same token, there's a thing I was talking to one of the other guys the other day about years ago when we went through. So part of our journey was son had leukemia, and the eldest one, Mark, Mark. Mark had leukemia, and when he was 18 months old, and then he relapsed when he was 4, and we got some help because we lost everything. We lost the business, we lost the house, we ended up in emergency housing. We had to start again, and that's when I got into the IT stuff. And if it wasn't for this group of people that helped us out then, I don't know where I would have been today. And their help was, they set us up in a house in Canberra, and they even paid for a few bills at that stage for us to get out of trouble. And I actually, after when I got into the IT side of things, when I was Prime Minister in Cabinet, I bought a whole heap of old computers off them and refurbished them and gave them to that same group of people that helped us out as a thing to give to all the families. And they ended up with like 30 PCs, so 30 computers. Back then they were 386s, but there were 30 computers and 5 laptops. And, that was the best feeling that I ever had. And then I was saying to somebody the other day, I was watching this thing about over in the Philippines, and I've got a couple of people over in the Philippines that have worked for me now. And there was this guy that actually walked up and he was actually wealthy, but he was all dressed up like a hobo and went up to this guy, and this guy gave him coconut juice, and this guy is making less than probably 1,000 peso a day or something like that. I don't know what he'd be making. And this guy just bought his card off him. I'm going, that's the sort of thing I'd like to do, is just give back to people that you can see they're hardworking.
Yeah.
And they want to do stuff. And it's just more of that full of empathy, whatever the word is, give them.
That's what a lot of people might come in thinking, I want to like buy a Lamborghini or like whatever. But at the end of the day, like, that can be cool to do, but the feeling of like giving back to someone as well, like through working with you, I've seen that you're like been really hard worker and stuff, and sometimes been rough and some challenges. And that's why, to me, getting you into this YouTube group and seeing you have your breakthrough with YouTube has been like so like fulfilling to me as well, because we've worked through a lot of stuff. And then giving you the opportunity to actually join the YouTube group and then seeing you like rise up so far. And I know that you're going to go so much further as well. Because once you know like the business model, and once you know that you can, once you can go from $2,000 a day to $8,000 a day. Like the only thing holding you back now is just the credit and the scaling. But even till then, like
Yeah.
the money that you're making and being able to just know that the business model is repeatable. And once, like I told you, once you have your breakthrough and you understand the steps that you took to get there,
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
repeating. It's just repeating the
It's
same
just repeating the whole thing. The other thing is, at the end of the day, as you said earlier in the piece, you can smell it. I mean, I sat listening to a lot of people talking about, having their $1,000 days, their $2,000 days, and that sort of stuff. And I'm going, I'm going to have one of those, and that's what I mean, proving it to myself that it does work and that sort of thing. But the thing that I did notice was when I had the first, $2,500 day when I was made 1,500 profit, and I'm sitting there on the call with my mate drinking beer and pretending we're at the horses, sort of thinking we're having a great time watching the horses. It was just the feeling is like, oh shit, it works, and sorry for the shit.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But it works. It wasn't just I could see it. It was now I could smell it, touch it, feel it. It was there, and like I said, $25,000 check. Well, ClickBank thing coming this week. It's pretty cool. And that's, I suppose, giving me more confidence to say, you know what, this is I can do a lot more for a lot more people if I do a lot more. If you know what I mean. So
exactly. Yeah. And so what? So you said you want to travel around the world. I know COVID situation's pretty, stopping us now. But even in saying that, like, what was your experience transitioning from like the COVID scenario to like affiliate marketing? Like, did you have any?
Well, it's funny because the coaching business, I lost about 80% of my coaching business, and everybody's going, "Oh, you shouldn't lose coaching business because it's all they're all builders." And I'm going, "Well, I wasn't going to fight to keep them on." But I lost 80% of the business, and I'm going, you know what? This is my wake up call to tell me it's time to change. And then, like I said, once I jumped in and I had a look at the model and saw how many people were having success with it, and it was actually been quite easy. COVID's made it a little bit easier because you don't get out. We're stuck here in rooms. We're in lockdown at the moment. I suppose, and the problem with this model is you've got to keep your hands off it.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, so it seems like it might be a lot of work to go through all the training and stuff, but once you develop that sort of awareness of the business model, it's sort of just like that's the reason why we call it profit singularity, because it's like let's just leverage AI and just let it run. Test some stuff once you understand the business model, but just plug it in, let it roll, and then scale it up.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, to people listening, it probably sounds a little bit like too good, to be honest.
Probably too. Yeah. I mean. It probably would sound like that, but I was listening to Keegan this morning on a call, and he's saying, there's nothing really to the model. It's like get a winning ad, scale it up. The
way I like to say it is like with the economy, there's always so much money flowing through the economy, like billions of dollars every day. So there's people out there spending money every single day, equaling like billions of dollars, right? So all you need to do is just like turn on the tap and just siphon some of that through. That's the way I think of it, because that's all we're really doing. We're just plugging our ad in there. We're just sort of popping a hole in the economy and just letting the water flow to us. When I quit my degree in university, people think you're crazy, and like, especially when you try and do anything altered, like different from the norm, you might have done it because you left your IT job for something more because, working for someone, even though you could be making good money, like the fulfillment that comes from running your own stuff. And as you said, like the personal confidence that you gain in like actually setting your sights on something and going out and achieving that is like so much more powerful than just receiving a paycheck from someone from them telling you what to do, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, at the end of the day, you become somebody else's slave, and you're actually they're using you to leverage their position instead of you being able to leverage yourself to grow your own position. In a lot of ways, that's what I think the affiliate marketing is you're getting an opportunity to show your skills and leverage your own time and skills to be able to build your own wealth with it.
All it takes is just you following the steps like a conveyor belt. All right, follow these steps. All right, then follow the steps again, then again. And it's just repeating the cycle until you get that one winner, and then it pops off.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I suppose, because the hard work it's like everything, the hard work's done at the beginning, but in this case, the hard work's done in the beginning and there's not a lot to be done after it's done. It's like learning the software to do the videos and that sort of stuff. That was a little bit of the hard stuff and I'm not a creative person in any way, shape or form.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, it wasn't that hard to follow the bouncing ball, build the videos, and away you go. It's once they're done, it takes no time at all to put the ad up. And then it's just sit back and wait and don't touch anything.
So when I onboarded you and got you into the group, how long was it till you actually hit your biggest day, the $8,000 day?
Oh, the $8,000 day, about 4 or 5 weeks. I started making money, I reckon, week 2 or 3. I was actually starting to make, $400 or $500 a day. And then then after that, it was like, okay, I found the winner. I mean, that $400 or $500 a day was going back as being, I was either breaking even, I might have been a little bit negative, but then positive within 3 weeks, I was positive ROI. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, like laser focus, never give up.
Never give up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I did have a couple of weeks there where it was quite negative, and I just thought, oh shit, it's a bit hard. But then, like I said, because I was looking at the negative side of it from the cash gap side. But then once I started to hit that thing, I'm going, oh shit, when you spend $1 and you make $3 or $4, it's like, oh shit, that's all right.
Exactly.
You can see you can replace that pretty quickly. Yeah.
So what do you think your biggest advice would be for like anyone listening to this, or your previous, I like to say, like, what would you give advice to your previous self and also someone that's just starting the course or about to jump into the course?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I'd say is follow the templates and stuff like that. Have confidence in what the guys are teaching, because at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple model. Stay focused and never give up, because if somebody else can do it, I'm a mechanic, for goodness sake, and I'm a little bit older than most people that'll be on the course, I'm assuming.
The age gap between us, I mean, we got people from all walks of life, You got people like me, we got Francisco, we've got everyone from all the different types of, demographics and age levels and that sort of stuff. And I was looking at the people that are in the bigger group, like Les and all those people, and going, you know what, there's people in there the same age or older than me that are still doing the same sort of thing. So just have some confidence in yourself and confidence in your system is the big thing. Is take the leap, because the thing is, people can sit looking in the rearview mirror worrying about what's going on, or they can actually use that as perspective and say, I'm not going to look back there and do what I did there. How about I go forward and making some choices to go forward rather than living in the past? And some of my decisions around, like I said, after Wendy had passed, was like, oh, okay, she was a chapter of my life. What's the next chapter of my life, sort of thing, and those sort of decisions are the things you need to think about. What is the next chapter going forward? If you've got some issues in there, if you only want to make a couple $100 a week and it's going to pay some extra bills, well, this can do it. If you want to make a couple of $1,000 a week or a couple of $1,000 a day or $10,000 a day, well, this can do it as well. So it really comes down to your own perspective and really making the choice for yourself. I mean, in my opinion, this is probably I've coached businesses, like you said. I've coached lots of businesses over the years, and I've been doing it for 20 years. And this model is not in any other business, So why would you do any other business? The scripts that you gave us, the templates and tools and all that sort of stuff that you gave us to start with, don't try and reinvent it. Just run with what's there, run with what you've been given. Because I've done, as a business coach, and that heaps of marketing, online marketing over the years. And that's what I said to you when I first started with you. It's like, I'll take all that shit out of my head and just go, okay, you're getting 5% click-through rates. I only get 1% click-through rates. You obviously know something more than me, so let me do what you do. And that's exactly it, I mean, it's good as well, because like working, you're working with someone who's obviously younger, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this call would be like, well, this guy's like so young, like what does he know or whatever. Like that's the sort of things that could be perceived of me. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's just following a method that works, and like we found a method that's so profitable and so simple that like anyone can do it. It doesn't really matter about, what your perspective of me is or what the perspective of you is or what the perspective of anyone is. It's just like, this is a method that works.
Yep.
And the real magic in life, I think, happens is when you see someone doing something and know that you can do that as well.
You just got to feel confident. That's what I like about the description of mentoring versus coaching. I think I've gone through this with you, spoken to you about this before. Coaching, is somebody that hasn't done it and standing there telling them how they should do it. They're standing there from an external perspective saying, you've got it within you, you can do it, and that sort of stuff. Where the difference with this is you have done it, and that's what I liked about our mentoring program was, okay, yes, you're a year or two younger than I am. But, I was just turning around and said, shit, well, when you look at Nick, how old, I don't know how old Nick is, but I think you said he's older than what he looks, but he's obviously had a very easy life.
Yeah. I think he's like mid-20s maybe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but, and when I saw him doing, what was it? Was
like 250K in a week, basically.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I was trying to think what it was. It was $250,000 in a week as a paycheck. I was like, okay, maybe I could listen to somebody that's a little bit younger than me, And you see that now. There's so many people out there that they're a little bit older and that sort of stuff, and they get stuck in their ways, and that's attitude, I suppose. Attitude and hard knocks over the years gets them to think that way. And I think if you're thinking about coming into this program, you've got to get rid of all that crap and come in with just empty the cup, as they say, come in with an open mind and open mind and be confident in yourself that you can do it and do whatever it takes to make it happen. If you've got to sit down and, I've seen some people struggle with accounts. I don't know why, but I've seen some people struggle with accounts. Okay, if that's the struggle, well, you just got to work through that struggle, but don't give up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like your first video and might not pop off, but it's just a matter of time. And when I first started doing mindset stuff, it's just realizing that if there's someone out there doing something, then you can do it as well. Yeah. Like a lot of people will give a lot of excuses, or like they'll say certain things like, oh, they can't do it because they did this, or, he did it because he's young, or like whatever,
Yeah.
But in the reality of things, it's like, if there's someone out there that's doing something, there's literally no reason why you can't either. And considering, working with you and seeing your progress and everyone else's progress in the group and the success of everyone.
Look, it's an ideal, perfect business model. You've just got to believe that it can happen and it will happen. And then don't do what I've done with everything else in my life. As soon as you I've bright shiny BSOs, bright shiny objects. I think 90% of people do the bright shiny object looking for something that'll work. And there's so many people out there promising, and again, talking about my own friends and that I know in the internet marketing space, they're selling products that they're not successful themselves. And so they stand there as frauds trying to sell something that they think will work rather than having something that we know works. And I look at this and go, like I saw your story when I first started with the Healthy Cons, and I go, you know what, if this guy can do it, I can do it. I saw Nick and I saw a few others. It's like, you know what, I just got to trust in the process. And
I guess most people would be thinking is, there's so many people trying to sell you stuff out there. There's so many people offering you so many things and, et cetera. But, at the end of the day, it's like us providing the value to our students and people like you, and like seeing people from all over the world, and me and you like live right next to each other as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like just seeing people from all walks of life, just being able to like implement a system and like have success is like one of the best feelings ever,
Yeah. It's great to be in a group full of people that are hitting goals every day. You're seeing a breakthrough there almost every day. So it's great.
Yeah. So I think that's been pretty powerful interview. So I guess we'll leave it to that, guys. And if you have any final remarks, Greg, feel free to.
Yeah. Well, just what I was saying before. Do the things. If you don't want to burn the boats, don't burn the boats. But just stay focused. Take on this one thing. If you've got a job and you've got to work and that sort of stuff, just put some time into this. Because if you haven't got money, you've got time. Put the time into it, and just try and make it work. And believe in yourself. Don't look at the rearview mirror going backwards. Look at what you can do for yourself, your family, or whoever going forwards, and see if you can make a difference. The biggest thing is do it for yourself first, and then once you're doing it for yourself, you can do it for others.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that, and we'll end it off there. So thanks for everyone for watching, and thanks for being on it, Greg. And I know you're going to smash some bigger days very soon once you get that paycheck in, that cash flow going.
That's it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Not far away now.